everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 25th of February right up until the 2nd of March 2024. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic constellational astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic constellation astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So I hope I explained that right. And also, moon void, of course, happens about 2 or 3 times a week. So moon void, of course, is basically a period when some astrologers say it's best to put off important things. This is because the moon isn't making any major aspects to any other planets like conjunction, square, opposition, but it's still making semi-sextiles and quintiles and stuff. So if you feel like it, you can use these moon void, of course, periods for self-reflection, for rest and recovery. It can make us feel more uncertain and confused. I don't really subscribe to that because to me the world is, it's how can I explain it? If we put everything off, and although it does influence us, we can still override it, sort of thing, because the moon is still making minor aspects which are more spiritual and esoteric in nature, that are just wanting us to go deeper within ourselves. So it's more of an inward energy. So moon void, of course, for me is all about just slowing things down if you need to, thinking before you sign important contracts and stuff, but also just trying your best to be aware, because sometimes you can't cancel that important meeting, you can't cancel that important sort of date and stuff. So just being aware, taking your time to react and making responses, and this can just make you feel more centered and deal with this energy that happens 2 or 4 times each week a bit more comfortably. So that's all about moon void, of course. So now to this week's horoscope. Starting now. Okay, so we start the week on the 25th of February. Venus is making a square to Jupiter, so this can make us have more optimism, make us feel more enthusiastic and want more pleasure and enjoyment from our lives. So we are more open to taking on risks, doing things out of our comfort zone, seeking adventure, and just being open to new experiences in general, as well as taking risks, especially in the areas of our finances and relationships. But we just have to make sure that we pick the right choices. It can just make us feel more generous and have a desire to connect with others on a deeper level, but we just have to watch out for overindulging, gossiping, being extravagant, attention seeking, crossing people's boundaries, especially when it comes to gaining pleasure and just looking like we're better than others. So people can be more prone to impulsiveness and taking risks without considering the consequences. The best use of this energy is to work on your individual goals and circumstances. If you are looking to sort of like make your life better, especially your social life and your intimate relationships, this energy supports that. It allows for you to surprise your love interests, special date nights, proclaiming your love to other people, also to invest in activities that just make you feel fulfilled, joy, or even balance right now. Spiritually, it symbolises the need to find a balance between the material and spiritual realms. In what areas of your life do you overdo it? Do you overspend? Do you focus too much on, looking good, living up to other people's expectations, sowing your ego or gaining praise from others? And how much time of your life do you spend taking care of your psychological, emotional and spiritual health, connecting with your higher power, your inner sense of self? How much of your validation is based on external products and services and people, and how much is based on, within you, for you knowing that you're a good person or believing in your values and stuff? So now is the time to prioritize your inner growth and connection with a higher power or your higher self, and looking after your emotional, spiritual and psychological health, rather than just focus solely on gaining materially. Psychologically, it wants us to find a balance between self-indulgence and moderation, and we can just feel kind of dissatisfied right now if we're not living in alignment with our authentic values and desires. So the ways in which you're letting yourself down or your partner's down in relationships may also be brought to your attention as well. So the best use of this square to Jupiter Venus is to focus on self-reflection, examine your beliefs and attitudes and patterns of behaviour, with a view to improving and giving yourself praise on the things you're already doing well in, but also, letting yourself know and working towards the areas that you need to improve on. On the 26th of February, the moon enters Virgo, so we can just be more critical, anxious and restless and overly critical on others right now. But this energy, the best use of this is to be more productive, organised and practical. So it just supports us paying attention to detail, studying and just being more embracing of routine and practicality. On the 27th of February, Mars makes a square to Jupiter, so a lot of square Jupiter energy at the beginning of the week. The moon enters void of course, and the moons also go stationary direct, so the moon goes void of course about 2 to 3 times every week. Some astrologers say it's best to put off important meetings and tasks at this time, but others say it's a perfect opportunity for relaxation and tying up loose ends, so doing the things that needs to be completed. Negatively, it can make outcomes unpredictable. We can become more unpredictable, so because of this we may need some time out. When the moon's north node goes direct, now the moon's north node goes retrograde and direct about 2 to 3 times each per month, so maybe once or twice a week. It's either going direct or coming out of retrograde or going into retrograde. So it just supports us in our personal growth and finding our life purpose, but it can stir up deep emotions and sort of like trigger us, but positively this can lead to transformative experiences for the better by taking the time to understand any emotional, psychological or spiritual wounds that may come up right now, making positive changes in our relationships, within ourselves, and just going after things that really align with our true calling. So taking positive action, trying to think positive thoughts, creating a nurturing space for yourself as the week goes on. Mars also makes a square to Jupiter, so this gives us more determination and confidence. The best use of this energy is to take on big projects and complete the things that need to be completed, and just taking the initiative to go after what you want, building more courage. It encourages you to think big and aim high, empowering you to take bold actions and be more calculated in your risks, but it can make us more impatient and recklessness as we, struggle to find the middle ground between being assertive and aggressive. Some of us may overestimate the things that we can do right now, or get in power struggles with others and conflicts in relationships because we think our way is the best, or just people are just feeling more on edge, or they've got more inner conflict going on. Spiritually, it wants us to learn to be a bit more humble while we're being assertive, to respect our own boundaries as well as others, and to channel our energy towards worthwhile relationships and purposes and activities rather than being reckless with it. Psychologically, it can trigger impulsive behaviour as we battle for instant gratification and not wanting to wait for things. So it's important to try and use as much self-control as you can right now, and try and be as disciplined as you can, getting advice from others, people that can support you. And because this energy can make us feel restless, just giving us this kind of need for constant stimulation, it's really, beneficial just to try and use this energy in a positive and engaging way that is self-constructive, building you up, supporting self-love and just healthy activities, rather than it being self-destructive that leads you to your toxic relationships, addictive substances and stuff like that as well. So yeah, on the 28th of February, the Sun makes a conjunction to Mercury. Mercury also makes a conjunction to Saturn. The Moon enters Libra. The Moon also enters its disseminating moon phase, and the Sun also makes a conjunction to Saturn. So there's a lot going on. So when the Moon's in Libra, it brings a wave of balance and harmony into our lives. It encourages us to seek peace in our relationships and find ways to compromise and cooperate with ourselves and others. It increases our ability to see things from different angles and make fair decisions. It can make us more diplomatic, charming and have more social grace. Negatively, it can make us indecisive or overly concerned with what others think. We may prioritise harmony at the expense of our own needs and people please, and struggle with being assertive at this time. So just watch out for, making people overstep your boundaries and ignoring your own needs. We have to find a healthy balance between meeting your own desires and the needs of others. So just looking at the ways you may people please, and why you do so. Is it to gain acceptance, love, to seem like you fit in with the crowd because you don't want to stick out? Because sometimes being your own person and going your own path can get you a lot of ridicule. People may try and bully you or get in your way or tell you your dreams are impossible, and this can make you think like, oh, I can never be who I really want to be or who I really am. So just thinking the ways why you people please and how you can break that habit, and how you can become more self-confident and build more self-belief in yourself so you can be who you are, knowing that the right people will always accept you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Also today, the Moon enters its disseminating moon phase. So this happens after the full moon but before the last quarter moon. So the disseminating moon phase supports us in communicating more effectively and in being inspired and inspiring people around us, as well as having more meaningful conversations and learning new things. Negatively, we can become more arrogant and impulsive and try and impose our sort of beliefs on others. People may come across as know-it-alls, thinking, yeah, I know everything, you know nothing, and this can cause, problems in communication. So just watch out for that. If you want to know more about the disseminating moon phase, the positive and negatives and the best use, check out the audio and the playlist. The best use of the moon going into Libra is to focus on developing balanced relationships and seek compromise in situations where conflicts come up, and just use, try and be more charming and diplomatic and understand other people. And this doesn't mean be a people pleaser, let people walk over you, but no, compromise is key right now. So also today, as I said, the Sun makes a conjunction to Mercury, so this increases our ability to communicate more effectively, allowing us to express ourselves more efficiently. It stimulates us being more curious, open-minded, being open to learning new things and growing intellectually. Negatively, we can become too rational and ignore emotions right now, and we can just become too critical and argumentative, and that adds to the tension I've already mentioned today. So it's important to strike a balance between your head and your heart, so using your logical, rational side of your brain and your more, intuitive, compassionate side. So ultimately, the Sun's conjunction to Mercury allows us to communicate more clearly and concisely. It represents on the spiritual level the merging of our ego and our intellect, and to align our thoughts and actions and just be more our true selves, the self that is who it is, rather than the self we construct to please others or to meet their expectations or to fit in. In terms of Mercury's conjunction to Saturn, this allows us to pay attention to detail and to strategize, so it allows us to be more logical and problem solve as well, and take more of a methodical approach to solving things right now and planning things, which is good, but it can make us pessimistic, emotionally cold, and have self-doubt as well, because we may feel like we're just failures right now, and we can just have a rigid kind of outlook that can get in the way of our creativity and flexibility. So it's important to do the things that can helpfully make you feel more optimistic and open-minded right now. The best use of this energy of Mercury's conjunction to Saturn is to become more organised, to strategize, to try and have more self-love, be disciplined. And yeah, I may have failed, or I may not be living up to my potential right now, and other people may not be meeting my expectations, but I'm going to choose to be happy and to accept people for who they are, and I'm going to allow myself to change and give myself the grace to make mistakes. Also, the Sun makes a conjunction to Saturn, so again, it brings that double dose of responsibility, being accountable for our actions, being more disciplined, and keep on going and persevering over life's challenges with determination and patience. It allows us to be more mature in our thinking and to work harder and to focus on building our inner strength. But again, this energy can add to the doubt and insecurity about our own self-worth and our abilities. So this energy, the best use of it is to try and recognise that setbacks are temporary obstacles on the path to success, and the fact that you want to keep on trying should help you, build that self-confidence and belief, and just try and just give yourself praise for the steps and the things you have achieved, and to make long-term plans to achieve the things that you need and want to achieve, especially when it comes to your personal growth. And just to, take some time out to ask yourself, are you self-disciplined? If not, how can you become more self-disciplined? How can you become more hard-working and find more balance in your working ethic if you work too much and suffer from burnout? And we just have to remember to be patient with ourselves as we go day to day through life, and celebrate the small victories along the way, as well as, the big milestones. So on the 29th of February, Mercury makes a sextile to Jupiter, Venus makes a sextile to the Moon's North Node, and the Moon enters via combustion. Now the Moon enters via combustion once a month. This is when the Moon is between the 15th degree of Libra and the 15th degree of Scorpio. So all the time it's there. This is called via combustion. It can make things more intense, but it's a good energy to use for personal transformation and to, just be more passionate and express yourself more passionately and become more motivated about your goals and your relationship and self-improvement. But negatively, it can bring more chaos and conflict and turbulence to our relationship, because everybody can be sort of like emotional. So it's important to take care of your emotional well-being and just to be a bit more understanding and self-reflected, and take some time out to explore your inner world and to just be open to being more compassionate to yourself and others. Mercury sextile to Jupiter allows us to express ourselves with more confidence, but we have to be cautious not to exaggerate or overlook important details. Venus' semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node is great for working on our relationships, especially on our self-improvement, and just being more compassionate for others, as I said, so it's supporting that energy. It also supports us in being more intuitive and exploring new ideas within our relationships, within ourselves, and just being more optimistic in our outlook. It supports us being more philosophical, metaphysical, and just researching ourselves psychologically, just healing ourselves and others, and just looking at the ways we can bring more harmony, more balance, love and understanding into our relationships with others, and our self-love as well, and self-care as well, and how we can just be better within ourselves. So yeah, that was the 29th of February. So now we're going into March. So I'd just like to just give an overview where everything is. So as we go into March, the Sun is in Aquarius, the Moon is in Libra, in via combustion. Mercury is in the constellation of Aquarius, Venus is in the constellation of Capricorn, so is Mars, Jupiter's in Aries, Saturn is in Aquarius, so is Uranus is in Aries too, Neptune and Chiron and the Moon's North Node are all in Pisces, and Pluto is in the constellation of Capricorn. This weekly forecast and the daily scopes are based on where the planets, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun and the Moon, the luminaries, are at any given time. So yeah, on the 1st of March, the Sun's making a sextile to Jupiter, the Moon, void of course, also starts, and Venus makes a sextile to Chiron as well. So the Sun's sextile to Jupiter is great for personal and intellectual and spiritual growth. It can make us feel more courageous and ready to take risks, and make us feel just more optimistic, and that we can try new things, and just a sense of abundance in general. Negatively, we can become ungrounded and overlook important details and the risks, and become self-indulgent and just extravagant with our money, time and other resources, and just be unrealistic at this time. So the best use of this energy is try and plan before taking risks, focus on your personal growth and seize opportunities that come your way, especially when it comes to your professional and intellectual goals as well, and just to make more meaningful plans. Work on starting or continuing long-term goals. If you don't have any, write down a list. Try and stay grounded and humble, and also take responsibility for what happens in your life right now, and just going after what you really want. Spiritually, it wants us to invest in ourselves, increase our faith and self-love and trust, and just to try and connect to our inner wisdom and align with divine guidance, doing things and activities and being around people that allow us to do this and to nourish our soul. Maybe spending time in nature, journaling or meditation can help you, and just to be open for messages from the universe or other people as well. Venus makes a sextile to Chiron, so this supports us healing and being open and having more self-acceptance, love and compassion, also helping us to understand others, so this can repair conflicts in our relationships as well, but it can also make us feel vulnerable and trigger patterns of codependency as it stirs up our emotional pain and insecurities. So we just have to make sure we don't ignore red flags. We're not just, seeking attention or letting other people manipulate us and take advantage of us. This is what can happen with this energy. So just be open and try and see people for who they are right now, rather than who you want them to be or who they say they be. This doesn't mean to get paranoid or nothing, but just be open to the fact that what you're seeing, what you're feeling right now may not work in the long run, but still be open to experiencing whatever you're experiencing right now as well. Also take time out to explore your psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma and patterns of behaviour that hold you back from experience true healing and growth and authentic relationships with yourself and others. Spiritually, it just wants us to be able to be open to connect with ourselves on a deeper level and others, and just to dig deep into our psyche and to try and find and develop healthier patterns of relating to ourselves and others at this time. And although this transit may bring up subconscious pain, it also creates an opportunity for healing and growth, and this is what we should take advantage of over the next few days. So on the 2nd of March, the moon enters Scorpio while it's via combustion. So this can bring sort of like issues of possessiveness and jealousy into our awareness right now. Hidden truths may also come out. We may feel more connected to our subconscious mind, and we may just feel more deep and intense. So this can cause conflicts in our relationships, so just watch out for that. But ultimately it allows for a greater sense of self-awareness and awareness of ourselves and others, as well as the psychological, spiritual and emotional patterns and triggers that sort of like stunt our growth. So it just makes us more aware of the things we need to be aware of, although how we become aware of these things may not be pleasant while the moon's in Scorpio. So yeah, that's the end of this week's weekly scopes from the 25th of February to the 2nd of March. Take care and see you next time.